Hi, welcome back to my channel. I'm super excited. This is my first, no, not my first, well, my first personal story time. Okay, so it's a two-part story time and I'm really excited, but it's my biggest fear and it's why I'm so scared of this specific thing because it tried to kill me and I almost died. It's so ridiculous. So I'll tell you like the less dramatic one first and then we'll get to like how I really almost died. So growing up when I was younger, my parents, so there's a 10-year age gap between my older siblings and then me and my younger sister. And so my older siblings would always go on vacation with my parents and everything. And then, I don't know, we just really didn't do that with me and my younger sister. We didn't go on vacation that much. We would go for like basketball tournaments and everything, like out of state. We went to like Lake George a couple times, but we never went like anywhere super cool. So my aunt and uncle started bringing us on like road trips over the summer and everything, and it was super fun. We used to go all four of us siblings all together, but for some reason I think my little sister Kate had like surgery or something, and then my older sister had like some sport thing, so it was just me and my brother that went on this vacation. And I wish I could remember what it was, but I can't, and it's driving me nuts. But for some reason it's stuck in my mind. I think it's Niagara Falls. Like that's just what comes to my mind. It makes the most sense. So we'd always drive in our motorhome. So it's like a fucking home on wheels. Like, it's great. We ended up driving up to what I'm guessing is Niagara Falls, and there was this one night we were taking pictures by the water, and I was super young. I was probably like 7 or 8, I don't remember. So I don't remember a whole lot, but I specifically remember this happening and it was terrifying. So, oh, I could tell 3 stories actually. So my brother, since he was like 10 years older than me, he like lifted me up and we sat on the edge of like this waterfall. There was like a seating, not really a seating place, but it was like so you don't fucking fall over and die. Kept like leaning back like as if we were gonna like fall to our death, and I was terrified. And so I was like, put me down. And so we took some pictures. It was super great. I wish I had those pictures. They were probably super cute. But yeah, then it was back to the motorhome, and it was probably like 9 or 10 at night. And we're walking back up, and there were, I'm not even kidding you, there must have been like 50 to 100 like teeny tiny steps that were like this big. And so you're just running forever. And I ran up ahead of everyone else because like I just wanted to go back and like lie down and like watch a movie or something. So I'm like running up, everything is fine, and then I step on something and it's something squishy, and I'm like, what is that? And then I hear hissing, and then I like feel like little, like, I can't like say that they were bites because I don't actually know, because it was like on my foot, like where my sneakers were, but it was like I felt something like touching like my shoe, and I was like, what is that? And so I looked down and I didn't have a phone or anything, and I was like, that's so weird. My eyes adjust to the darkness and I figure out what it is, and it's a snake. It's probably like this long, and I started screaming. I was so terrified. But anyways, so I started screaming, and my brother comes up and he's like, what's wrong? And I can't say anything. Like, I am terrified. And he ends up looking at the snake, and it's like trying to like bite at us, and I was like, oh my god. And so he literally lifts me up by my waist and throws me like 5 steps ahead, and like I land, and I'm like hysterically crying and everything, and I'm like, what is happening? And so my aunt, of course, because she's a psycho, decides to like look at the snake and like try picking it up, and is like looking up on Google like what kind of snake it is and everything. Maybe it wasn't Google, I don't know. She's trying to figure out what snake it was, and I was like, you are psycho. And so that was one of them. Could I have died? I don't think it was like poisonous or whatever, but it still scared the shit out of me. Number 2, brother played this prank on me one time, and it literally ruined my life. So this was after like both snake experiences that I've talked about, like the really scary one that almost killed me, and then the one that I just told you. So it was April Fool's, and I never knew when April Fool's Day was. I don't know, it just never stuck in my mind as like April 1st. Like, I don't know, I never did. So I had no idea what day it was. So I'm downstairs talking to my mom, and she was like, why don't you go like set up a movie and like we'll watch it in my bed? And I was like, all right. Again, probably like 9 or 10. And I go upstairs, and like I'm setting up a movie, and I'm laying down, and I see this thing like under the pillow that's right next to me. And I was like, what is that? And so I move it, and it's a snake. It's a snake. It's a rubber snake, but I screamed at the top of my lungs and I started hysterically crying. I don't think I've ever flown out of a room so fast in my entire life. I feel like my feet didn't even touch the ground. I literally got up and ran downstairs to my mom. And of course, because, you know, my brother's an asshole at the time, he comes downstairs with the snake and he's like moving it like this, like in my face. And I'm screaming hysterically. I'm like, what the fuck is happening? And I'm like crying and everything. My mom's like, Ryan, knock it off. And he's like, it's fake, but he's still moving it. And he's like moving like the tail and everything. So it's like this. So it looks like it's real and like moving in his hand. And I was so young and I was like so scared. And it ruined my life. Anyways, like the story that I've been wanting to tell forever because it's a great story. So this had to have happened in like kindergarten, like maybe first or second grade, but I'd say probably like kindergarten. The zoo came to our school. And we had this huge auditorium where we'd have like shows and like, you know, school dances and like all this other stuff. So we had this huge auditorium and the zoo came and they had animals running around the entire time. I remember there was like a giant tarantula that was like just running between like the crowds and all the teachers were like freaked out. And like so many of the kids were like, oh, I want to touch it. And I was like, get that thing away from me. I'm not like terrified of like tarantulas and stuff, but it was just like gross.
And I just say this is my first cup of coffee that I've had in like a week and a half and it feels so good.
The last thing that they brought out was like the major event and I was like, okay, it's gonna be pretty cool. And so they had everyone in the crowd like close their eyes while they like brought this animal on stage. I'm even kidding you. They had to set up like desks. Like there are probably like 10 to like 15 of them just like lined up like all the way across at like the front of the auditorium. And they stretched out this entire like 30-foot long banana anaconda. It's a giant yellow thick ass snake. Ruined my life. So that's not even the worst part. So at this point I like already kind of don't like snakes because like I see them on TV and they're creepy, but like this is my first experience with one. And so they stretched this thing out all the way across like all like 10 or 15 of these tables and it is huge. It goes from one side of the wall to the other. This is the biggest room in like our entire school and I looked at it and my eyes went bug-eyed and I was like, oh my god, what the fuck is that? And so we get up there and they want us to all form a line and like go up and touch the snake and I was like, what do you mean touch that snake? And so my best friend that I was and we all went up and I think we were like one of the last ones. And I was telling her, I was like, I don't want to touch it. I don't want to touch it. I just have a bad feeling. I'm afraid of snakes. And she's like, why are you afraid? You've never even like touched one. And I'm like, I don't know why I'm afraid. I just have a really bad feeling. I don't want to do it. She's like, come on, just do it. You'll be fine. And I was like, all right, whatever. So she's like touching it and like petting it and it's like totally fine. She's like, it's like slimy but not, and it's also like bumpy where like the scales are. And I was like, oh cool, still didn't want to touch it. She's like, just do it. And she's like peer pressuring me into it. So after we were like going down this line, so you can pet it like a million times because you just go forever. And so she's like, come on, just do it. And I was like, all right. So I'm not even kidding you, I think I put 2 fingers on the thing. And so like okay, so maybe it was like more than 2 fingers, but I slightly touched it. So this is like the snake and I go like this. Like that's like it.
Well, this is a true fucking story for anyone that does it. No, this is a true story. Okay, so.
Slightly touch the thing. Like, okay, that's not that bad. I literally look up because I had my eyes closed when I did it and I opened my eyes. Whoever was holding the head of the snake literally wasn't paying attention or like lost control or something. The next thing that I saw ruined my entire life. It literally came up and like opened its giant ass mouth. Hi, this is editing Rachel from the future. Hi, hello. So I need to clarify something because this doesn't seem as dramatic as it actually was and as terrifying as it actually was. So when we were petting this 30-foot snake, mind you, it stretched across the like all 10 to 15 tables. We were petting towards the tail. We like started at the tail and were able to like come up to about like the middle of the snake and then they'd have us like leave and go back to our seats. And so when I pet the snake, it was towards the end. So the fact that this snake clearly sensed me, probably my fear because I was terrified, its head came towards its tail like 15-20 feet to come and like open its mouth and like get to me. That's ridiculous. So I just need everyone to know that, like, yes, I'm very dramatic, but this was not dramatized at all, this snake, and literally they had to like pull it back because it opened its mouth and was so close to me, and I was terrified and scarred for life, and I hate snakes, and yes, bye. Me being like 4 or 5 years old, that giant snake could have eaten me whole, and no one would have been able to stop it. So I'm just saying, yep, most terrifying experience ever. Okay, bye. Like, it probably wasn't like this close to me, but it was like coming towards me because I fucking touched it. And I was like, I started hysterically crying, and my teacher had to like walk me away. And I can honestly say that the zoo never came back to my school after that because I was terrified. I had never been so scared. I saw like all the teeth and everything, like it was close, and they had to like yank it back, and it wasn't being like crazy or anything, like I wasn't like trying to escape, but like the fact that I literally touched my like tiny ass hands on it, and I was like 4 or 5 at this time, so I was terrified. And so it came up and just like opened its mouth, and like it ruined my life forever. Those are my snake stories. I hate snakes. There was a couple times that like I was helping my mom garden and she found like garter snakes, and I ran away because I just don't do it. I just can't, like, I don't know, it just freaks me out. Like any type of snake, I see a picture of a snake and I'm terrified. I hear like snake stories, I'm terrified. Like I just can't do it. I really can't. It just, I don't know. But this is my first real story time, so if you want to hear any more ridiculous, dramatic, insane moments of my life, let me know down below. I have a billion more. I'm just gonna keep filming because I kind of like talking to myself. Like, I feel a little more comfortable. I'm a very like shy person, except like I'm a shy person up until you get to know me, so the fact that video and I'm like so comfortable talking to myself, that's like really awesome. But yeah, this is how a snake almost killed me and I almost died. But dogs are so rude. Shut up! Anyways, I hope you have a great day. Like and subscribe below. Follow all my social media. I'll see you maybe tomorrow, maybe in 2 days. I don't know. I'll see you soon. Love you.